going on, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about risk management. I had some people in my comment section asking me, saying, can you give us a video over risk management, just like the entirety risk management plan, everything in that nature, right? So I did post a YouTube video, I think a couple weeks ago, over calculating position size, and that was essentially this. I left this Google spreadsheet in the description of that video, so if you guys want this spreadsheet, you can go check out that video. It also has my risk management plan on there. We're going to go over it real quick. It's extremely simple. It's not hard. And to be completely honest with you guys, if you have good risk management, psychology doesn't even need to become a part in your trading. Your risk management plan, if you follow it to a T, if you follow it robotically every single day, psychology is not a thing, right? So anyways, let's get into it. Essentially, risk management. So what is risk management? People talk about it all the time. What's risk management? How do I manage my risk? How do I do it effectively? How does it affect my trading, right? So risk management is extremely important in trading because it's how we take trades. It's how we take profits, right? It's how we determine how much we are going to risk. It's how we determine our risk to reward, everything like that, right? And that's a huge thing inside of trading because at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're risking money to make money. That's the entirety of what we're doing, right? So you have to follow strict rules. You have to follow a strict plan to be able to get to a position where you want to be in. So we're going to go over my strict risk management plan, everything that goes into my trading per day, everything like that. It's going to be super simple, super quick, because it's really not that hard. And you honestly have probably already read it already and understood. And I'm going to go over it regardless to tell you guys, help you guys out, okay? So this is obviously the rules, right? These are the rules. This is for a 50K funded account. There's two kinds of ways you can do this. You can either do this, number one, on a live account, and we'll go over those rules, or on a funded account, right? So this rule, some of these rules are going to differ depending on how large your account size is, but most of these are going to be the same for all account sizes. The only one that's actually different is the percentage of drawdown. That's literally it. So first of all, the most important one is how many trades per day. If you guys are an experienced trader, if you know what you're doing, right, you can allow yourself 2 trades per day, right? And how I do this is I allow myself 2 trades per day. If I win the first trade, I am done, right? Because you just beat a market 99% of people cannot beat. What is the point of staying on, and what is the point of continuing to trade when you made money on that day? Doesn't matter if it's $200, doesn't matter if it's $2,000. You made money. You beat the market that 99% of people cannot beat. Get off the charts and move on, right? Now, the situation where you can take another trade is either A, if you go break even. If your first trade goes break even, you're right back where you started. Perfect. Allow yourself one more trade, right? You can do that second trade full risk. Now, if you lose your first trade, your second trade is going to be half the risk of your first trade, right? Because you can get into a bad habit of taking 2 trades a day, losing both of them on full risk, and then you're down 2R on the day, right? The only amount that you should be down on a day ever is 1.5R, and that's it, right? Because that can be made back in a singular trade, and probably more of it can be made back in a singular trade, So you should really never be risking, full risk every single trade that you take unless you understand and you realize, okay, I'm putting full risk on the table. I am risking this amount, right? But for you beginner traders out there, the experienced traders are probably not watching this. So for the beginner traders watching this, your first trade can be full risk. You win, you're done. You go break even, your second trade is full risk. You lose your first trade, your second trade is half the risk of your first trade, right? So if you're risking $300 originally, then you're risking $150 for your second trade, okay? Now, if you go break even twice, you're done. Even though you're at 0, right, you evened out on the day, you're done. Strictly because if you're going break even twice in a day, your analysis is probably wrong. We're not delivering to where we want to go. The volume is probably not coming in as heavily as we want it to, right? There's all of these situations and things that are probably happening to make you go break even. So in a situation like that, it's best to just get off and move to the next day, right? Because if you're going break even twice on, A+ setups that you're taking, then realistically, we're not going to deliver off of those setups, and you should just move to the next day, right? Now, percentage of drawdown, I think this is a big one that people like to talk about. I have a lot of people asking me, how much should I risk? How much should I risk? How much should I risk? right? So a funded account is a lot different than an eval, right? Funded being like actual, sim funded, express account, qualified account, right? Whatever it is. That's going to be a lot different than your eval, okay? So beginner traders, if you have never passed an eval before, you are going to risk 15 to 20% of your drawdown. So on a $50,000 funded account, that drawdown is $2,000, right? So 15 to 20% of that is going to be $300 to $400. If you're on a 100K account, that's going to be double of 300, 400, right? But it's percentage of your drawdown. So for 50K, $300 to $400. If you have never passed an eval before, if you're just getting into funded accounts, if you're trying to pass your first eval, right? Because although I do not treat evals the same as funded accounts, I want you guys to feel the same, right? Because you shouldn't just be rushing through a funded account. You shouldn't be, doing all this. You should be trying to treat it exactly like an actual funded account instead of, just trying to pass the eval. So if you're a beginner trader, like I said, I've said it a lot, you're going to be risking 15 to 20% on your eval and your funded account. If you are a little more advanced, right, you can bump these numbers up. Usually on an eval, I am double the risk that I usually am, so $600 to $800. I copy trade my evals with my actual trades, and I just put them on 2x, right? So whatever I'm risking on my fundeds, right, I'm risking 2x on the evals. That's going to help you to obviously pass accounts a little faster, but also you're still taking good trades to pass them eventually, right? Now, once you get to the actual funded stage, you're just going to be doing 15 to 20%. This is just the normal risk amount. You have $2,000 worth of drawdown. This is going to give you, how many trades is that? Around 6 trades, six or seven, no jokes. 6 or 7 trades before you blow the account. Realistically, you should never be losing 6 trades in a row. And if you are, maybe you should start thinking about something other than risk management, right? Because if you're losing 6 and 7 trades in a row, then really you should be, focusing on something else other than risk management at that certain point in time, right? Either strategy, psychology, maybe just try drop shipping or something. Anyways, your target RR minimum is obviously going to be a 1-to-1. Everybody says don't take negative RR trades, and that's true. Don't take negative RR. What the fuck are you doing if you're taking negative RR trades? Like, you're risking more than you're making. Just don't do it. At least get a 1-to-1, right? If your take profit is, going to be higher than the high that you want to sweep out, then don't take the trade, or tighten your stop loss or something like that, or just let it run to 1-to-1. Whatever you have to do to get a 1-to-1, but most of the time you're going to be able to get that, right? Targeting highs and lows. You guys know how I trade. If you want to learn my strategy, I have a video over my entire discretionary strategy in my YouTube channel. Go check it out. But with that being said, right, you should most of the time be able to get a 1-to-1 no matter what, right? And then I always just say no more than a 1-to-3. At that point, it's just you're kind of doing too much. Like, it's all up to you, right? It's all up to you and your strategy. My personal strategy, I don't like to go higher than a 1-to-3. Most of the trades that I hit is around a 1 to 1.5 to 1 to 2. I think I've only ever hit a handful of 1-to-3s. It's just not something that, either A is, viable for my strategy. Obviously, lower RR is going to be a higher win rate. And also, I just don't like doing that, right? Because I like winning more, stacking my wins on a 1-to-1 rather than, hitting a 1-to-3 and anything like that. Max stop, this is actually a little bit different now just because stop losses are going to be different sizes depending on, time frames and where we're at in that certain point in time with the price of the NASDAQ and everything like that. But let's say there's actually a pretty decent short forming here. If we inverse this 5-minute, let's say we inverse this 5-minute, right? And you're going here, your stops wherever. That doesn't necessarily matter. I would just say more so matters to keep your target RR, right? So whatever your stop loss is, make sure that your take profit is the same, right? That's that plan, obviously. Now, how many take profits? So this is where it differs from a live account to a funded account. If you are on a funded account, I honestly don't see any reason in taking partials, right? I don't see any reason in saying, I'm going to take off half my account here, let it run, whatever, because, there's consistency rules, there's like rules with funded accounts. With live account, it doesn't really matter, right? So with a live account, yeah, take partials, let that shit run to wherever you think it's going to go, right? But if you're on a funded account, just have a break-even level. Like in the scenario like this, like my break-even would be this right here, and then you'd probably, move your stops break-even after that, and then that's all I do. If you target a little higher RR, yeah, you can probably trail your stops. But I would just say break even on a 50K funded or any funded account. I mean, like I said, though, it's all up to your strategy. Really, a lot of these rules are kind of up to your strategy. The main ones that aren't, this one, and that's kind of it, right? Risk management really is how much are you risking and how many trades are you taking per day. If you follow these strict rules, you're going to become profitable, bro, because the strategy genuinely does not matter, right? Then the last three rules, only trade, this doesn't necessarily mean, New York AM. If you want to trade Asia session or London session or whatever, go for it. But only trade one session, right? There is no point in you trading multiple sessions when they all move differently. What is the point of you trying to learn different sessions when you haven't even learned one yet? Stick to one, learn one, and then go to a different one, right? Once you've mastered one, sure, go to a different one, okay? Only trade one asset, right? Whether that be the NASDAQ or the S&P, whether you're trading like Forex, hopefully you're not, whether you're trading gold, whether you're trading silver. I'm going to paper trade this because this looks really good, actually. Perfect. We'll see if that works out. Okay, anyways, right? Stick to one asset, right? There's no point in trading multiple different things because, like I said, they all move differently. Master one, then move to the other, right? And lastly, stick to one strategy. It's the biggest thing. Everybody talks about it. Whatever fucking strategy you trade, bro, it's going to work, okay? If you stick with it long enough and you truly put your time and effort into it, eventually it's going to work and you're going to figure it out, okay? Every single strategy is profitable. So stick to it and figure it out. Because just because you take one loss doesn't mean that that strategy is no longer working, okay? Stick to the damn strategy and figure it out, okay? It's very simple. These are the strict rules that you need to follow, okay? 1 to 2 trades per day, $300-something risk. Only trade one session, only trade one asset, and only trade one strategy. Figure this out until you become profitable, and you'll thank me later. Okay, risk management is extremely simple, and if you follow these rules, you don't even need psychology because boom, risk management, this is what I need to be doing. Even if you take a shitty setup on some day, right, you're only losing 1 R, maybe 1.5 R, it's fine, you'll make it back, right? So with these strict rules, no matter what happens, you're eventually going to make the money back even if you do something stupid. Unless you do something stupid 6 times in a row, like I said, right? Then maybe you need to focus on something else. Maybe focus on your psychology or your strategy or something like that, right? But with that being said, that's risk management for you guys. I'm going to start hammering out more YouTube videos. I want to start grinding on the YouTube. I was slacking for a little bit, but we're back. So we're going to be doing this a lot more. That being said, let me know down in the comments what you guys want to learn next, what you guys want me to teach you guys next, and I'll catch you in the next one.